So lesson 20 is working with the same thing, both factors. However, we're only looking for the greatest common factor. So again, we're going to be getting the factors of numbers, and then once we do that, then we can choose the biggest number that is in both sets of the groups. So first thing, we have to list the factors of the smallest number, okay? So, for example, if it is telling me to get the greatest common factor of 6, 9, and 15. So, 6 is obviously the smallest number. So, I'm going to go ahead and list out the factors of 6. So, I have 1 and 6, and then I have 2 and 3. Okay? And then it tells me to, starting with the greatest factor, cross off factors that are not factors of the other numbers. Okay, so the other numbers that I'm looking at is 9 and 15. So, obviously, I'm going to start back here because I'm looking for the greatest number. So, can 6 be multiplied with something to get 9? If you answered no, then you are correct. So I'm going to cross out 6. Now, can 3 be multiplied with something to get 9? If you answered yes, then you're right, because 3 times 3 gives me 9. Now I'm going to try that same question with 15. Can 3 be multiplied with something to get 15? And again, if you answered yes, then you're correct, because 3 times 5 gives me 15. So my greatest common factor for 6, 9, and 15 is 3. And just to prove a point, I'm just going to list out these factors again. So that was for 6. And then for 9, I have 1 and 9. And then 3 times 3 gives me 9. And then for 15, I have 1 and 15, and then 3 and 5. Okay, so the biggest number that is in all three groups is 3. Okay, so hopefully you can see that. Okay, so 3 is my greatest common factor of 6, 9, and 15. So now let's do number 1. So what is the greatest common factor, or also known as the GCF, of 12 and 18? Okay, so I'm going to list out my factors of 12 first. So I have 1 and 12, then I have 2 and 6, and then I have 3 and 4. Okay, now if you like it the second way I showed you, to where you list out the factors for 18 as well, you can do it that way, or you can do it the first way that I showed you, to where you just mentally ask yourself if each one of these numbers is a factor of 18. Just for argument's sake, I'm going to show you the second way, just to be clear. So I'm going to list out the factors for 18 as well. So I have 1 and 18, then I have 2 and 9, then I have 3 and 6. Okay, so what I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to look for the largest number that is in both of these sets of numbers. So obviously 12 is not in both, 18 is not in both. However, 6 though is in both of those groups, and 9 is not. So 6 is my biggest factor that is in both of those groups. So my GCF is 6. Okay, number 2, I'm going to do the same thing for 15 and 21. So for 15, I have 1 and 15, 3 and 5. And then for 21, I have 1 and 21. I have 3 and 7. 1 second, guys. Okay, so then obviously 15 and 21 is not in both of these lists. 5 is not in both of these lists. 7 is not in both of these lists, but 3 is. So 3 is my GCF. Okay, so hopefully this is getting a little bit easier for you. So 3, I'm going to do the same thing, 27 and 36. Okay, so I'm going to list out the factors for 27. So I have 1 and 27. And then I have 3 and 9. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing for 36. So I have 1 and 36. Then I have 2 and 18. Then I have 3 and 12. And I have 4 and 9. And then I have 6 times 6. Okay? So I'm going to look for the biggest number that is in both of these groups. Okay? So I don't have a 36 in both of them. I don't have 18 or a 12. But I do have a 9 that's popping up in both of these groups. So 9 is my GCF. Okay. Number 4, so I have 24 and 36. Okay, so this one is going to require a lot of factors because these are both pretty high even numbers. So I'm going to list those out. So I have 1 and 24. And I have 2 and 12. Then 3 and 8. And then 4 and 6 for 24. And then I have, again, these same ones for 36, so I can just relist those if I want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 18, and 36. Okay, so I'm going to be looking for the biggest number that is in both of these groups. Okay, so I don't have 24, 36, I don't have 18 in both of them, but I do have a 12 in both of them. So 12 is my greatest common factor, or my GCF. Okay, and last but not least, number 5. So I'm going to just list out my factors for 10. So I have 1 and 10. Then I have 2 and 5. Then for 15, I have 1 and 15, and then 3 and 5. And then for 20, I have 1 and 20, 2 and 10, and then I have 4 and 5. Okay, so I'm going to be looking again for the largest number that is in all 3 of these groups. So I have 10 that's in 2 of them, but not all 3. I don't have a 20 that's in all 3, and I don't have a 15 that's in all 3. However, I do have a 5 that is in all 3. So 5 is my GCF. Okay, so hopefully that makes a little bit more sense to you rather than you just reading the lesson on your own. But of course, you should still read it, and just let me know if you have any questions or concerns, and I will try my best to get back with you as soon as I can. Have a great day, guys.